Assalamualaikum all of you. Welcome to the second lecture for data transmission. Now, yesterday or in the last lecture, what we did, we just studied about the network, that what's a network. We studied about the types of the network. We studied about the requirements for creating up a network, and then we discussed about the types of the medium. So that was the last thing that we discussed in the last lecture. Now, today what we are going to start with is something regarding the data transmission, or you may say directions of the data transmission. So do remember that when it comes to the directions of data transmission, so there are three directions, or you may say there are three methods. It's a simplex, then it's a half duplex, and then it's a full duplex. The third one is the full duplex. For the third one, you may call it as the full duplex, or you may call it as a duplex as well. Both the things are same. It may be called, and sometimes like in your past papers, it may be called as the full duplex or it may be called as the duplex. So don't get confused by that thing. Okay, now for the simplex, when it comes to the simplex, so what is a simplex? Simplex is something the data will be transmitted in only one direction. It can be either from the sender to the receiver in a single scenario, or from the receiver to the sender in a single scenario. It won't be coming back. Like for example, right now in the class there are students and there is a teacher. Now in this class, in this particular class, only the teacher is allowed to speak, the students are not allowed to speak. So this is known as simplex. Similarly, if we come across this thing, like in another class, now students are only allowed to speak, teacher won't be allowed to speak. Again, this is a simplex transmission, because in one pattern or in a single scenario only the data can be transferred from either of the side. It cannot be transferred from the other side as well. Now when it comes to the simplex, now diagrammatical representation, sorry, so diagrammatical representation, you might see sender from the receiver, or that means in another scenario it might be from the receiver to the sender. Now when it comes to the example of a simplex, now what could be the example of the simplex? So simplex is something, for example, if I take it in the real world environment, so it may be a live TV broadcast. So in a live TV broadcast, only the data is being transmitted from one end to another end. You cannot reply to that, or you cannot answer to that particular broadcast. This is known as a simplex transmission. Now the best example from the book that you may take is sending the data to the printer. Now if you're sending the data to the printer, now what will be the utilization of this thing? That means only the application, or you may say the data can only be sent from the application towards the printer can't send the data back to the application. So this is known as a simplex transmission. Coming towards the full duplex, now for half duplex. Now what do you mean with the half duplex? Half duplex means that data can be transmitted in both the directions. That means from the sender to the receiver, and from the receiver back to the sender as well. And yes, this time in a single scenario. That means in the class, teacher and student both can speak, yeah, but not simultaneously, one at a time. Like for an example, when I am speaking, so students won't be allowed to speak, and then when the student is gonna question something, or the student is saying something, so teacher is not allowed to say something. So one at a time is known as the half duplex. If you can see the diagrammatical representation of this thing, so you might see over here sender sending the data to the receiver, or receiver sending the data to the sender. So this is how. Now coming towards the example of a half duplex data transmission. So the best example for the half duplex data transmission could be a walkie-talkie. Now you might have seen this scenario when it comes to the walkie-talkie. So until and unless first person hasn't finished his words, the second person is not allowed to speak. There will be no transmission. There will be the end won't be open for that particular person to speak up, because the first person is speaking. Until unless he is stopped, or you may say he finished up the words, then the other person will be allowed to speak at that moment. Coming towards the full duplex or duplex, now data is allowed to transmit in both the directions simultaneously. Now simultaneously means that at the meantime both the direction, that means sender can send the data to the receiver, and at a similar time receiver can send the data to the sender as well. Now when it comes to the example of a full duplex or a duplex transmission, so the best example for the full duplex or the duplex transmission could be, yeah, so it could be sorry, yeah, now it could be the best cell phone calls. Okay, so chats on the on any sort of the social media handles, messaging, chatbots, any such thing like that. So chatbots, because you are saying something and it can answer in the meantime as well. Okay, so this is known as the full duplex transmission or the duplex transmission. So this was the types, sorry, this was the directions of the data transmission: simplex, half duplex, and full duplex, or you may call it as the duplex as well. In the next lecture, we are going to discuss about the types of the bit transfer. Thank you so much.